And welcome back to All Day Live. Your time is 12:20 on this Wednesday. We're so glad that you're here with us today, spending some time looking at our headlines, following some live events across the region here at home, and also in D.C., keeping an eye on that shutdown, which is entering its third week now. We wanted to bring you up to kind of the Iron Range region by Duluth and talk about some plans that are, it's just driving a lot of conversation right now. There are plans to build a data center in Hermantown. This is a small community kind of considered a suburb of Duluth. What's the company? Well, we don't know. What will it look like? We don't know that yet. What environmental studies have been done? I haven't seen anything public, so we don't know that either. What we do know is that earlier this year, Mortensen Construction approached the city of Hermantown to build a communication services facility. Those are typically otherwise known as data centers on behalf of their client, and the only thing we know is that it is a Fortune 50 company. One of the reasons that we don't have a lot of these details is because some of the people who were interested in bringing that data center to Hermantown needed to sign NDAs, or non-disclosure agreements, with the company in order to open up these conversations. NDAs are totally legal in these circumstances, and actually they're common practice. But there is a commissioner in St. Louis County who is calling for more transparency and, taking it a step farther, no more NDAs. So joining me now is St. Louis County Commissioner Ashley Grimm. Thanks so much for being with us today.
Hi, I really appreciate you having me.
For sure. So yesterday, our producer Amber had a chance to watch what was, I believe, a county commission meeting. You, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong along the way here, but you made sure that NDAs was on the agenda, and you also don't believe that commissioners should be signing NDAs. And the process of yesterday, it looked like you made a motion to kind of simply open up that discussion. We wanted to play just a portion of that so people can see, and then I'll have you kind of respond to it on the back end and let us know what happened there. So let's play that.
Okay, second call for a second.
Unbelievable. Come on.
Third and final call for a second. Okay, motion fails for lack of a second. Okay. Next up is commissioner discussion items.
I have an item.
Use your gavel, Mr. Chair.
I have an item.
Let's. Commissioner Grimm.
Yeah, I want to address the public here. We have commissioner discussion items. I think refusal to consider this item and to allow for public comment when we see this chamber more packed than I've seen it for basically any other session, both speaks to a total disservice to our community, as well as a striking example of why we need a policy around prohibiting non-disclosures and increasing transparency with our community. I have never seen something like this in my tenure on the board. And that commissioners would know they were not planning to second this, and so they make commissioner comments about it at a time when it can't be debated. That it's unprecedented.
Okay, so I'll let you sort of respond to that, and then I just have a couple of follow-up questions to kind of try to understand what was going on there.
Yeah, so what you're seeing is something I've only seen this time at a county board meeting. The chambers were packed. People had showed up during public comment and asked to comment on the data center, and in particular, the fact that 3 county commissioners had signed non-disclosure forms ranging from months ago to almost a year ago. And they were told by the board chair to hold their comments if they could until the resolution was made. And then when the resolution was made, every other commissioner chose not to second it, which everyone on the board knows means that there can be no discussion and it just dies. And the reason people don't usually do that, commissioners usually second it, even if it's just for discussion, because as your elected officials, we tell you that your voice matters, right? We don't come to the table with our minds totally made up. We want to hear what the community says. So instead, the motion died, and all of the people who had been waiting an hour and a half staff to have their comments heard and had been told to wait that hour and a half weren't able to even voice any of their concerns, which is kind of ironic on a vote with transparency.
Go ahead. Yeah, so one of the questions I had is, I was just listening to that, it kind of picked up on something, and if you could clarify this for me. So it sounded kind of like you were saying that there were these commissioners kind of came into that meeting almost like you have these commissioners who I don't want to put words in your mouth, but do you believe that the commissioners, talked ahead of time and kind of agreed, hey, we're not going to second any kind of a motion to talk about this, or what exactly are you thinking?
I don't know what happened. I do, and 3 commissioners can talk about any given item, so that wouldn't necessarily violate open meeting laws. So I'm not saying anything illegal happened or anything like that. What I do find curious and concerning is the fact that the district commissioner, Keith Musolf, made comments about the data center and the NDA that he signed, but he did it right after the regular committee meeting where you do committee updates, which isn't a normal spot where you would comment on an agenda item. And so no other community member could discuss at that time. It's not debatable at that time. So I don't know exactly why that happened, but I know that how it happened ended up being really a disservice to the community. So I can't speak to people's rationale or their intent, just to what happened.
And so I'm just going to put a bow on that piece of it, because we have like the procedural piece of this that we want to parse through, and then we have the project piece of this as well. Again, so many layers to these stories, and in this interview we won't get through all of it, but specifically as we were watching that commission meeting yesterday, that we had so many questions that we wanted to parse out. So I should also mention that our producer Amber did reach out to all of the commissioners. We did hear back from some of them. One of them this morning had a chance to talk to St. Louis County Commissioner Chair Annie Harla, who we should point out was not there yesterday. For the record, Commissioner, she did say that if she would have been there, she would have seconded that to at least open up the conversation. We'll never know for sure. This is what she's letting us know. So I wanted to make sure and get that out also. I'm also curious. So, and I don't know how these meetings work. This is not my wheelhouse at all. But are there opportunities for you to have discussions, ahead of what happened yesterday? Has there been any kind of conversation between you or any other commissioners about what's going on and why are there NDAs and what are we doing here?
So last week, right after I found out that there were NDAs, I gave the whole board notice that I had concerns about them and was going to bring it forward. So to give everyone a good faith opportunity, I also didn't come up with the specific names of commissioners that I had seen had the NDAs, because I think commissioners need to have the opportunity to bring that forward or bring support forward, and then hopefully that gave them the opportunity. What I saw in the meantime was just statements of support for the NDAs that they had signed. And there's a great opportunity for Commissioner Harla or others who were present as well to bring that agenda item back up. So I'm hoping that happens, and it doesn't have to be the end of the discussion.
And public comment seemed to be something that you, obviously, as we played that clip, is something that you really were pushing for here, an opportunity for the public to weigh in. What's been the process for the public to weigh in on this as far as the county goes? And then I think obviously there's the city piece as well, but for St. Louis County, what does that look like for the public?
So I think you bring up a really good point. Before I was a commissioner, I was a community member who tried to have my voice heard. And what you find time and time again is that the process isn't really built for it to be simple for you to do that. So I found out about this data center, that it was a data center at the same time the community did, which was just a couple weeks ago. That's over a year after the district commissioner knew about it. It's after I've heard from Hermantown residents, I haven't checked this, but they were concerned that even definitions of light commercial in the city of Hermantown had been changed so that they fit the data center regulations. Those are things that I've started hearing. So that's one of the main reasons that I brought this forward, to say, instead of companies having a year or months to win over 3 of the 4 votes that they need to give, if they asked for tax abatement, if they asked for county money, taxpayer money, instead of them having that leg up, they should be able to only be in those conversations if the community has a chance to give input, and they just didn't. So I've seen the community organizing themselves. They have a really great group in Hermantown. I think it's Stop the Hermantown Data Center. They're doing all kinds of organizing that they had to pull together within 2 weeks. So I think that's a big reason this matters. And one other key point is that this proposal doesn't ban non-disclosures from being signed by staff. We have an amazing economic development team. Staff can work with people. They can, walk them through the process, answer any questions about land. What staff can't do is start to build the political will to pass public tax breaks and things that are in the role of a county commissioner. They can't build that political will without the public also being in the conversation. So, and I haven't seen it be common practice that politicians sign these non-disclosure forms. I think we're seeing it more and more as billionaires with great legal teams are pushing it and trying to say, hey, talk to us and don't talk to your constituents.
Commissioner, can you help me understand which entity has the final say here, whether this happens or doesn't?
The only say that the St. Louis County Board would have that I'm aware of is we would come in when they're asking for TIF, so tax increment financing or tax abatement, which essentially means that they don't have to pay as much taxes as they would otherwise, or if they're asking like some companies have for, it could be hundreds of thousands of dollars, it could be millions of dollars. So we don't have any of the kind of role in permitting. I know there's a vote coming up in Hermantown that is a zoning vote that's really important, but the piece that we play is largely with taxpayer dollars, which is really important.
Yeah, just bigger picture as we're looking at this, because right now we're focusing on Hermantown. We've been also covering a story in Fargo and Harwood that are kind of going through the same thing with the data center that plans to go into Harwood. Bigger picture though, when we hear about and public hears about data centers, I think we have seen maybe things on social media or different places about how electricity is a problem, or it's draining water supply and the environmental effects. Are there things though about data centers that could bring jobs, opportunity, money, revitalize an economy? Are there things that you're kind of willing to concede to say, yeah, all these things are good?
So something interesting is that data centers have existed for a long time, right? We all store data. We know that there's some need for that storing. What's pretty new are these mass mega users of data that are storing things purely for profit, right? To see how many clicks they can get. Think about those Facebook quizzes when you're thinking about your electric bill and what kind of public incentives and subsidies we want to give these companies. Think about all the data that's collected through Facebook quizzes to make sure that you're marketed at better. Like, a lot of this is driven by that, and not necessarily the good things about the internet that connect us, that build innovation. So I think when we're thinking about the mass resources that this uses, we need to make sure that the public is at the table saying, okay, what kind of data are we collecting? What is a critical need that we want to invest in? And what is something that a billionaire is using that doesn't create a lot of jobs and is just going to pad their pockets at the expense of our electric rates going up to the tune of, some people have seen 70% increases in their electric rates with other data centers. So there's all kinds of data centers, and it's the point of the problem with non-disclosure agreements is that right now no one in Hermantown, or most people in Hermantown, don't know what type of data center. And that, that builds mistrust when we need to start building trust in politics.
Just so you know, too, we had that conversation with Commissioner Chair this morning, and she's actually agreed to come on tomorrow to talk with us. So we wanted to give her an opportunity to talk about it. Again, she was not there yesterday, but she is one of the three commissioners who signed that NDA about a year ago. Before I let you go, what question do you have for her? What should I be asking her from your perspective?
Let's see, what benefit is there to having elected officials sign these non-disclosures that wouldn't be solved by staff working with these projects to sign non-disclosures? I'd also like to directly ask, have you talked to them about abatement? Have you talked to them yet about things that the public would want to be part of the conversation about? And unless she violates the NDA, I think likely she won't be able to tell you.
Okay. Yeah, and we did also reach out, and Amber spoke with the St. Louis County attorney to see if she was involved in any way, and she did say that whether she advised them or not, and she said that attorney-client privilege prevents her from discussing any conversations that she had with the commissioners. So if we want that information, we would file a data request for that, and that would be, I believe, made public. I'm not a legal expert, but thank you for your time, Commissioner. We really appreciate it. This won't be the last time we're talking about this, because we're talking about Hermantown right now and St. Louis County. This is an issue that I think is impacting a lot of communities, and again, there are about 12 different sides to this story. It's not black and white by any means. Thanks for sharing your perspective today. Appreciate your time.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Sure, you bet. All right, let's see. So again, we'll have the Chair Commissioner on tomorrow. All right, let's do this. Let's take a quick break and come back, and we're going to take you out to a really exciting new project for KMOJ, the People Station. We're live there because there's an event that's happening. It's an unveiling of a new lot of land that they're going to be building on. So we'll take you there. But we've got, I think, a little bit of a peaceful moment for you, if I don't. Oh my goodness, really? Taking us to, this is live? Oh, Split Rock. Never looked better. Love Split Rock Lighthouse. The North Shore, some hardy folks out there with fall jackets on, hopefully taking in some great color.